Shayna Lowry has been preaching justice for her son since the day he took his last breath. 20-year-old Tazarie Butler, a well-known rap artist across North Carolina, died on June 27th after being shot in Lumberton.
At 9:08 p.m. on June 27, 2023, 21-year-old rapper Tazarie Butler lay dying in a pool of blood, shot multiple times by someone he trusted with his life. The gunman wasn't a stranger from the streets. It wasn't a rival rapper or a random robber. It was his best friend, someone who had been part of his security team, someone who knew his family, someone who ate at his table. Just months before his death, Tazari was living his dream. He had worked with big names like Little Boosie and Big 30. The mayor of his hometown had honored him for his music and his work with kids. His mother, Shanna, watched her son rise from a high school football injury to become a local star. She was so proud. But on that Tuesday night in Lumberton, North Carolina, everything changed forever. What started as a normal hangout with friends became a deadly trap. The people Tazari trusted most would turn on him in the most brutal way possible. His mother got the call no parent should ever receive. Her son was gone, shot down by the very people who claimed to love him. But what happened in those final moments would shock even the most experienced detectives. The truth about that night is darker than anyone could have imagined. Welcome to our channel. Right now, there are thousands of young people like Tazari who trust the wrong people with their lives, completely unaware that those they consider family are about to betray them in the most deadly way possible. If you want to help spread awareness about the warning signs of dangerous friendships and the failures in our justice system that put innocent lives at risk, then please like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel. Your action now could help protect another young person who might be walking into the same deadly trap that claimed Tazari's life. Tazarie Butler wasn't supposed to make it. Born when his mother Shanna Lowry was just 16 years old, he came into a world full of challenges. Shanna herself had grown up tough. Her own mother struggled with addiction, leaving Shanna to figure out life on her own. But when Tazarie was born, everything changed for her. She was determined to give her son a better life than she had. Tazarie became the oldest of 4 children. From early on, he took his role as big brother seriously. He looked out for his younger siblings and had a special bond with his mother. Shanna and Tazarie weren't just mother and son, they were a team. She was his biggest supporter, and he was her pride and joy. In high school, Tazarie had big dreams of playing football. He was good at it too. But during his junior year, disaster struck. He tore his ACL, a serious knee injury that ended his football career before it really started. For most teenagers, this would have been devastating. But Tazarie found something else to pour his heart into: music. What started as a way to deal with his disappointment became his passion. Tazarie discovered he had real talent as a rapper. He wasn't just playing around, he was serious about his craft. He worked hard, wrote his own lyrics, and started performing locally. People in Lumberton began to notice this young man who could tell stories through his music. His hard work paid off in ways he never expected. In 2021, Tazarie got the chance to collaborate with some big names in hip-hop. He worked with Little Boosie and Big 30, artists with millions of fans. For a young rapper from a small town in North Carolina, this was huge. It proved he had what it took to make it in the music industry. The recognition kept coming. The mayor of Lumberton honored Tazarie for his musical talent and his work advocating for children in the community. He wasn't just making music, he was using his platform to help others. His mother couldn't have been prouder. But success in music can be dangerous. It attracts all kinds of people, some who genuinely care about you and others who just want to use you. Tazari thought he could tell the difference. He became close friends with 2 brothers, Chamberlain Lee Oxendine and Joshton Locklear. These weren't casual friendships. Tazari trusted these men completely. He spent time at their house at least 5 times a week. Chamberlain wasn't just a friend. He was part of Tazari's security team when he traveled for shows. When you're a rising rapper, you need people you can trust to watch your back. Tazari trusted Chamberlain with his life. He trusted him with his family's safety. In his mind, these weren't just friends, they were brothers. He had no idea that the people closest to him would soon become his biggest threat. To understand what happened to Tazari, you need to know about the people he called friends. Joshton Locklear wasn't just any regular guy from the neighborhood. He had blood on his hands. On March 13, 2022, more than a year before Tazari's murder, Joshton went to a birthday party for a 16-year-old on Jones Road in Pembroke. What should have been a celebration turned into a nightmare. Joshton allegedly opened fire at the party, killing 2 people. One victim was 20-year-old Randy Hunt, who died right there at the party. The other was just 15 years old Hazachi Oxendine, who died later at the hospital from his injury. 2 days after the shooting, sheriff's deputies arrested Joshton. They charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony conspiracy. This wasn't a minor crime or a mistake. This was double murder, including the killing of a teenager. But here's where the system failed everyone, including Tazari. Despite being charged with killing 2 people, Joshton was released from jail. He was put on an ankle monitor and allowed to walk free while waiting for his trial. Think about that. A man accused of murdering 2 people, including a child, was back on the streets. Tazari trusted Chamberlain with everything: his safety, his career, even his family's protection. In the music business, your security team knows where you live, where you go, who you meet with. They know your schedule, your weaknesses, your fears. Tazari had given Chamberlain access to his entire life. The community had concerns. People knew about Joshton's charges. They knew he was walking around free after allegedly killing 2 people. Some wondered why Tazari was still associating with this family. But Tazari saw the good in people. He believed in loyalty and friendship. What Tazari didn't know was that things were changing in his relationship with the Locklear brothers. According to his mother Shanna, on June 27, 2023, Chamberlain and his brother Joshton decided to switch up on Tazari. The young rapper who trusted everyone was about to learn the deadliest lesson of his life. June 27, 2023 started like any other day for Tazarie Butler. He was doing what he always did, heading over to hang out with Chamberlain and Joshton at their home on Bean Road in Lumberton. This wasn't unusual. According to his mother Shanna, Tazarie went to their house at least 5 times a week. It was routine, it was normal, it was safe. Or so he thought. Tazarie arrived at the house that evening, probably expecting another regular night with his friends. He had no reason to think this night would be any different from the hundreds of other times he'd been there. But something was different. Something had changed in Chamberlain and Joshton. According to Shanna, they had decided to switch up on Tazarie that day. The loyalty Tazarie thought he could count on was about to disappear. The trouble started over something incredibly small: a watch. Joshton was wearing a watch, and somehow the conversation turned to whether it was real or fake. According to the police reports, Tazarie became upset when Joshton said his watch was fake. It sounds ridiculous. 2 grown men arguing about a watch. But that's how it started. The argument got heated. Voices were raised. Then Joshton said something that changed everything. He asked Tazarie if he wanted to square up. Street talk for fighting like men. This wasn't just words anymore. Joshton was challenging Tazarie to a physical fight. And Tazarie accepted. The 2 men went outside into the yard and started fighting. It was a real fight. Both men ended up on the ground, throwing punches, wrestling. Chamberlain was there, watching his younger brother fight with their friend. Then Chamberlain stepped in. He broke up the fight between Joshton and Tazarie. For a moment, it might have seemed like the older brother was being the voice of reason, stopping the violence before someone got seriously hurt. But when Tazarie got up from the ground, he was angry. Really angry. He ran toward a blue and white Chevrolet Suburban that was parked nearby. On the hood of that truck was an AR-15 rifle, a powerful military-style weapon. Tazarie grabbed it. Now here's where things get confusing. Whose gun was it? According to Joshton's statement to police, the AR-15 belonged to his brother Chamberlain. But Joshton couldn't explain why it was just sitting on the hood of the car. He also couldn't say whether the weapon was loaded or not. With the rifle in his hands, Tazarie pointed it at both Joshton and Chamberlain. Joshton later told investigators that he pleaded with Tazarie not to shoot. "Please, don't shoot," he begged. But Chamberlain didn't wait to see what would happen next. He pulled out a pistol and fired. The shots rang out in the quiet neighborhood. 2 to 3 gunshots, according to Joshton's account. But Tazari's mother says her son was shot 4 or 5 times. The bullets hit Tazarie in the chest and abdomen. He fell to the ground. The 21-year-old rapper who had been laughing and joking with these same people just minutes before was now dying in their yard. The friends he trusted with his life had just taken it away. After the shooting, Joshton and Chamberlain claimed they tried to perform CPR on Tazarie. Chamberlain's wife called 911, but according to Shanna, her son was already dead. The CPR was pointless. At 9:08 p.m., Robeson County Sheriff's deputies got the call. When they arrived at 135 Beam Road, they found Tazarie Butler's body. The rising rapper was gone. In just a few minutes, a stupid argument about a fake watch had turned into murder. But the real question investigators had to answer was this: was Chamberlain defending himself and his brother, or had he just committed cold-blooded murder? When Robeson County Sheriff's deputies arrived at 135 Beam Road that night, they found a crime scene that would haunt them. Tazarie Butler lay dead in the yard, his body riddled with gunshot wounds to the chest and abdomen. The 21-year-old who had walked into that house alive just hours before was now gone forever. The deputies immediately secured the scene and called in the Robeson County Sheriff's Office Homicide Division. This wasn't just any murder case. It involved a well-known local rapper, and the community was already asking questions. The Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and the U.S. Marshals Service Carolina Regional Fugitive Task Force joined the investigation. But here's what shocked everyone, especially Tazarie's mother. It took 31 days for police to arrest anyone. 31 days. Shannon Lowry couldn't believe it. She told reporters that investigators knew from day one who the alleged killer was. So why the delay? Why was Chamberlain Lee Oxendine walking free for over a month while her son lay in the ground? The sheriff's office said they had to be careful, that this wasn't a TV show. It was real life with real consequences. Evidence had to be carefully examined. Reports had to come in. They needed to build a solid case. But Shanna wasn't buying it. She believed the police knew exactly what happened that night. She started putting pressure on Sheriff Wilkins to do the right thing and arrest the person responsible for her son's death. During those 31 days, 2 very different stories emerged about what really happened. Chamberlain's story was simple: self-defense. His lawyer, Johnson Britt III, argued that Chamberlain had no choice but to shoot. According to this version, Tazarie had grabbed an AR-15 and was pointing it at Chamberlain and his brother. Chamberlain feared for their lives and acted to protect himself and Joshton. But Shanna had a completely different view. She called it cold-blooded murder. She didn't believe the self-defense story for 1 second. In her mind, the people her son trusted most had betrayed him in the worst possible way. The evidence started coming together piece by piece. The autopsy confirmed that Tazarie had been shot multiple times, 4 or 5 gunshot wounds, according to his mother. The medical examiner's report would be crucial in determining exactly how Tazarie died. Witness statements were collected. with Joshton Locklear being the key witness since he was right there when it happened. His account of the events, the argument over the watch, the fight, Tazari grabbing the rifle and Chamberlain shooting, became the foundation of the case. But there were still questions. Whose gun was the AR-15, really? Why was it just sitting on the hood of a car? Was it even loaded? And most importantly, was Chamberlain really in fear for his life, or did he see an opportunity to kill someone he no longer wanted around? While investigators worked, Shanna Lowry became her son's voice. She refused to stay quiet. She gave interviews demanding justice for Tazari. She questioned every delay, every decision, every excuse. The grief-stricken mother wasn't just mourning, she was fighting. Shanna also revealed something disturbing. She said that since Tazari's murder, she had been dealing with torture and intimidation from the accused family. She claimed that Chamberlain had been bragging to people about killing her son. If true, this didn't sound like someone who is sorry about having to defend himself. Finally, on July 28, 2023, exactly 31 days after the murder, Chamberlain Lee Oxendine surrendered to authorities. He was charged with first-degree murder and held without bond. But for Shanna, this was just the beginning of her fight for justice. After 31 days on the run, Chamberlain Lee Oxendine finally decided to face the music. On July 28, 2023, he walked into the Robeson County Sheriff's Office and surrendered to investigators. The 26-year-old was immediately charged with first-degree murder in connection with Tazarie Butler's death. Initially, Chamberlain was held without bond, but that didn't last long. During a court hearing, his defense team argued for his release, and a judge made a decision that shocked many people in the community. Chamberlain was granted a $1 million bond. $1 million might sound like a lot of money, but for a first-degree murder charge, many people thought it was too low. Here was a man accused of killing someone in cold blood, and he could potentially walk free if he could come up with the money. Sheriff Bernice Wilkins made it clear that he had no control over bond decisions. "Let me be clear again about the bonding process," he said. "We do not set bonds or control how they are changed or made. That decision is in the hands of a judicial official." Chamberlain's lawyer, Johnson Britt III, came out swinging with his defense strategy. He claimed there was no evidence against his client. According to Britt, Chamberlain acted in pure self-defense when he shot Tazari. The lawyer even suggested that the charges were only filed because of all the attention the case was getting on social media, not because of the actual facts. But the evidence told a different story. When the case went before a judge for a probable cause hearing, prosecutors presented their evidence, the autopsy results, witness statements, and crime scene findings. The judge reviewed everything and made a crucial decision. There was enough evidence to move the case to Superior Court. This was a major victory for Tazari's family. It meant a judge believed there was probable cause to think Chamberlain had committed murder. The trial was originally scheduled for September 2025. Tazari's mother, Shanna, was worried about whether prosecutors would be ready. "The parent in me is worried," she said, "because it is coming up so quickly. I just want to make sure that we are ready to present the facts of the case, justice for Tazari." But then came another delay. In 2024, the Robeson County District Attorney's Office announced that the trial was being pushed back to March 2026. The reason? New evidence had been submitted that could be helpful to the case. District Attorney Matthew Scott said they were prepared for the original trial date, but felt the new evidence could strengthen their case. For Shanna, this meant even more waiting, more uncertainty, and more time wondering if justice would ever come for her son. The community was outraged by all the delays and the bond decision. People couldn't understand how the system was failing Tazari and his family. Here was a clear case with witnesses, evidence, and a dead body, yet the accused was walking free, and the trial kept getting pushed back. The system that was supposed to protect people like Tazari seemed to be protecting his alleged killer instead. The murder of Tazarie Butler didn't just destroy one family, It sent shockwaves through the entire community of Lumberton. The ripple effects of that night on Beam Road continue to this day. For Shanna Lowry, losing her son changed everything. The woman who had raised Tazari from the time she was just 16 years old now had to become something she never wanted to be: the voice for a murdered child. Shanna transformed her grief into action, speaking out publicly, demanding answers, and refusing to let anyone forget her son's name. "I will be his voice," Shanna declared. She wasn't just mourning quietly at home. She was fighting the system, fighting for justice, fighting to make sure Tazari's story was heard. But the impact went far beyond one grieving mother. The people of Lumberton were angry and scared. How could a rising star like Tazari be gunned down by people he trusted? How could someone accused of double murder be walking around free on an ankle monitor? The community started asking hard questions about their safety and their justice system. The case highlighted serious problems with pre-trial release policies. Joshton Locklear had been charged with killing 2 people, including a teenager. Yet he was out on bond when Tazari was murdered. Sheriff Bernice Wilkins didn't hold back his feelings about this. "I agree that there is something wrong in the system when homicide suspects are allowed to walk around with an ankle bracelet on and be out on bond," the sheriff said publicly. He explained that while bonds can't be used as punishment, the fact that you are out of jail on a bond for another felony offense should speak for itself. The sheriff made it clear that these decisions weren't up to him. Pre-trial release is controlled by judges and court-ordered programs, not law enforcement. But that didn't make the community feel any safer. Making matters worse for Tazari's family, the trauma didn't end with his death. Shanna revealed that she had been dealing with torture and intimidation from the accused family since the murder. She claimed that Chamberlain had been bragging to people about killing her son. Think about that. A grieving mother not only lost her child but was being threatened by the very people accused of taking his life. The case exposed how victims' families often suffer twice, first from the original crime and then from a system that seems to protect the accused more than the victims. For Shanna and her remaining children, the fight for justice became a fight for their own safety and peace of mind. Tazarie Butler's murder teaches us painful lessons about how quickly things can go wrong and what needs to change to prevent future tragedies. The most shocking thing about this case is how it started: an argument over a fake watch, a stupid, meaningless dispute that should have ended with maybe some hurt feelings. Instead, it ended with a young man dead. This shows us how dangerous it is when people don't know how to walk away from conflict. When egos get involved and people feel they have to prove something, minor arguments can turn deadly in seconds. The presence of weapons made everything worse. An AR-15 rifle was just sitting on the hood of a car, easily accessible during a heated moment. When guns are around during fights, the chances of someone dying go up dramatically. Secure gun storage isn't just about keeping weapons away from children, it's about keeping them away from anyone during emotional, angry moments. But the biggest lesson is about our justice system. Joshton Locklear was accused of killing 2 people, including a 15-year-old, yet he was free on bond when Tazari was murdered. This raises serious questions about who should be allowed out of jail while waiting for trial. When someone is charged with violent crimes, especially murder, should they really be walking the streets? Communities need better ways to resolve conflicts before they turn violent. Young people need to learn that walking away from a fight isn't weakness, it's wisdom. What changes do you think need to happen to prevent tragedies like this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tazarie Monty Butler was just 21 years old when his life was cut short. He had overcome so much growing up with a teenage mother, dealing with a career-ending football injury, and turning that setback into success as a rapper. He had worked with major artists like Little Boosie and Big 30. The mayor of his hometown had honored him for his music and his work with children. He was at the peak of his career, with so much more to give. But on June 27, 2023, all of that potential was destroyed by people he called friends. His mother Shanna has kept her promise. She said, "I will be his voice." And that's exactly what she's done. Through interviews, court hearings, and public statements, she has made sure the world knows who Tazari was and what happened to him. She has refused to let his death be forgotten or swept under the rug. The trial is scheduled for March 2026. After years of delays, evidence submissions, and legal battles, Chamberlain Lee Oxendine will finally face a jury. The question everyone is asking is simple: will justice finally be served for Tazarie Butler? Tazari's impact on his community lives on. He showed young people that you could overcome obstacles and make something of yourself. He used his platform to help children and advocate for positive change. His music and his message continue to inspire others even after his death. What do you think really happened that night? Was this self-defense or cold-blooded murder? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story moved you, please share it to help keep Tazarie's memory alive. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss updates on this case when the trial begins. Justice for Tazarie Butler is still waiting, but his mother won't stop fighting until she gets it. Tazarie deserved better. His family deserves answers, and his community deserves justice.